when you have a new product, the first thing your job is to do is to get someone who doesn't know you to take out their wallet and pay you for the product.
It's one of those things that gets frustrating because it's a numbers game when it comes to email.
We're running Facebook ads and people are buying from a sales page and they don't even know me.
Ever wonder how those e-commerce brands you admire do it? How they know just the right message to send to the right people at the right time? Guess what? It's not experience. They have the right data and the right tools. They have Klaviyo. Klaviyo's data-driven marketing automation platform is sophisticated enough to power those legendary campaigns from the brands you admire, but they made it simple, easy, and fast enough for anyone to use. Klaviyo helps brands easily create personalized multi-channel marketing campaigns using your most powerful asset, your customers' data. Klaviyo integrates with all leading e-commerce platforms, helping you use your customer data in real time to send more relevant emails and SMS automations. Plus, building a marketing campaign is drag and drop easy. You can get started with your first campaign in under an hour and easily build from there with Klaviyo's best performing templates. Klaviyo gives you all the power of an enterprise marketing automation platform and none of the complexity, so you can compete with the big guys. No wonder more than 65,000 brands can't get enough. To get started with a free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored. The subscription market is predicted to grow to nearly $500 billion by 2025. As a fast-growing area in commerce, subscriptions hold tremendous opportunity to build a community of customers who share your values. Recharge is the leading subscription management solution helping e-commerce merchants of all sizes launch and scale subscription offerings. Recharge powers the growth for over 15,000 subscription merchants and their communities, turning one-time transactions into long-term customer relationships. Whether you're a direct-to-consumer business or an omni-channel brand, subscriptions strengthen your brand's relationship with your customers and makes it easy for consumers to make repeat purchases. With subscriptions, merchants are able to experience predictable revenue, increased customer loyalty, and higher average order values. Turn transactions into relationships and experience seamless subscription commerce with Recharge. Get started today with a subscriptions payment solution trusted by over 50 million subscribers worldwide by heading over to rechargepayments.com/uncensored.
You're listening to E-Commerce Uncensored with Kevin Manel and Jason Caruso.
Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us on another episode of E-Commerce Uncensored. My name is Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso.
Before we get started here, Jason, I wanted to mention this done-for-you email service that we started up a couple weeks ago. What you have to do is you have to email. Every time I do that, Jason, I mess that up. You have to text message the word email to 844-643-0745. You'll get a response back from us with a link to kind of tell us a little bit about your business and what you're doing and where you're looking to improve. And we'll kind of just go back and forth and see how we could fit in and help you with your email setups.
Yeah, I want to just say one thing, Kev, because we're getting a lot of people texting us. I just want to be clear that this is a paid service. This is not like we're going to go into your email and like do everything for free. This is a service that, we want to help people because we get emails from a lot of people saying that they're struggling with email. They need help with email. And the only way that we can kind of help is, number one, you have to have an email strategy that's working somewhat. Like, you have a different problem if you have a product that isn't selling. Like that's not email, right? Like that's a whole different problem. But so I just want to make that clear.
We're kind of, I don't want to say picking and choosing, but we're only picking the right fits for us. If we can help you, we want to be
right fit for both of us.
Yeah, right fit for both parties, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have somebody right now that gave us access to his email, and he asked me last night. He's like, "Hey, are you gonna get back to me tonight?" I'm like, "No, probably tomorrow." So people are excited. But Kev, today we're going to talk about something because we've alluded to this in the past. We've talked about this golf business that we just started, right? And number one, it's the process of starting a new business is is number one, it's scary, right? Like you don't really know what's going to happen, especially when it's a passion project or passion business where you really believe in what you're doing. But it's so radical that like you worry with other people how they're going to receive it.
And you
You
get
know?
caught up in the excitement too. Like you're excited, you finally got your thing. It's like your baby and you're putting it out to the world and you're like, okay, everybody buy it now. And
Yeah.
that's
So
not
like
obviously what happens usually.
right. And it's funny because we started this golf business that I've been, bugging you to do for a very long time. And you've kind of been like, dude, like I just don't have time. So if you want to do it, do it. So like I was like, F it, I'm doing it. So we started this golf business, and by all accounts, it's doing amazing. Right?
The sales are coming in when you get that, that first sale, that second sale. Okay, this is something. I'm still
like
waiting to call you a genius, though, by the way. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
The interesting part about this is that creating something out of thin air, like we did with this golf business, and then having people buy it, it's like a surreal thing. I mean, you and I have been, we've had like our background has been pretty good with like starting businesses. I mean, we've helped companies, do well. We've helped companies that we've partnered with people do really well. And now we've started.
It only took us 18 years to get to
only
this
took us
point,
18 years, right? Yeah, I mean, it's easy, right? But but like this golf thing is like a different animal, right? And I think a lot of people struggle with starting a business from nothing. And I think oftentimes it comes down to expectations, right? Like you want this thing to blow up. You want people to want what you're selling. You want to create freedom for yourself. You want all these things. So you're expecting them to happen. And when they don't happen, I think people get really discouraged. And the truth is like this golf business, like we launched it and we started getting sales like immediately. And then yesterday, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's you got to, speaking of expectations, it's just so very rare to like hit on something the first time you put it out there. Like,
well,
that doesn't happen. And as marketers, we fail most of the time too.
Yes. But the thing is like where we are in the game, I think, we're doing it opposite. Like I would tell everybody to like try to test things as quickly as you can. Where we are, I think in our experience, like we spend a little bit more time in the beginning than I would recommend to people because we've been doing this long enough that I kind of know what needs to happen. So that's not the point of this podcast. But the point is that you have to look at this thing as like a long-term thing, right? Like we started this golf business. We started getting all these sales. It was like great. We were excited. And I say all these sales, but all these sales are like, for a new business is really, I mean, one sale is really good. I mean,
I think understanding success at this stage is important, right? We're saying that it's doing well and we feel like it's successful, but it really hasn't made a ton of money, right? But we understand that success comes with a process.
I mean, we're getting a ton of people on our email list. Number one, we've gotten more sales at this point than I thought we were going to get. Are we rich from it? No, but are the signs there? Absolutely. We're running Facebook ads and people are buying who like from a sales page and they don't even know me. Right. That's huge.
Which is something at the beginning be like, yeah, that's not going to work. Just throwing a sales page at somebody who never met you before isn't going to really just work like that.
Right. And if you listen to some people, they will tell you that you got to build a relationship and you got to get them on your email list. And you got to do all these things. And, I'm not totally against that, but let's just talk about our experience thus far with this business. Okay. We are really bullish on email, right? Like that is something that if you do it the right way, not like the wrong way, but the right way, we are really bullish on it. But what our experience with this golf business has been is that we needed to get a lot of eyes on the sales page, right? And email is a little bit more of a longer term strategy in the beginning, right? Like later on, 2 years down the road, you can just send an email and make thousands and thousands of dollars. But in the beginning, when you have a small list and you're just building the list, the people don't even know who you are, that sort of thing, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, we're getting, like you said, we're getting a lot of people on the email list, which is good, which is, step one, phase one, success. We call that success. But in the back of our heads, we're like, okay, this is the longer term approach. We know that people aren't just going to come on. Some people will come on our list and buy from our first email. That'll happen. But you need to understand that, okay, this person got on our list today. He may not buy in a month. He may not buy in 60 days, but he's there. And when the time is right, he'll buy.
Yeah. So what we're finding is that, like, on Facebook, right? We're like, yesterday, we spent $165 on our Facebook ads, but we got like almost 300 people to that landing page.
Right.
Right.
Lots of eyes. Yeah.
A lot of eyes on it.
That.
Right. Whereas with our email list, we have a small list with this golf business. I mean, there's maybe there's less than 1,000. There's 700 people on the list. And maybe I get, 10, 15 people to click through.
Yeah.
Right. So in this case, the getting eyes on a sales page is working better than email at this point.
Yeah. And eventually that'll switch over once we build up the list enough. And it's one of those things that gets frustrating because it's a numbers game when it comes to email. You have 1,000 people on your list. You work backwards from that. You're going to get anywhere between a 20 and 30% open rate. So what's that? 1,000. What's 20% of 1,000?
300.
200 or 300 on a good statistical email. 200, 300 people open it. And then you're talking about how many people are going to 1% of those people.
Well, we're getting about 3% click through.
3%. So what's that? What's 1% of 200? 20. So you're getting like 50 people to click through. If your landing page is converting at 1%, that's not even one person.
Right.
So It's all comes down to numbers when it comes to email, and you want to have quality people, but it's a quantity thing as well.
Well, yeah, and you definitely want quality people on your email list, right? But if you have a product that the masses will be attracted to, you have to know when to use Facebook and when to use email. You need to know like when to use what at what point. And at this point, Facebook has really been like killing it for us. I mean, we've been getting orders for $40 a conversion. I mean, think about that. The Journal of Wildlife Photography at its best, and we turned that into almost a $2 million business in 1 year. At its best was doing like $37 per conversion. This is doing about $40 per conversion. So think about that.
Yeah. And when you're starting a business like this, you got to look at all these signs. So we had this discussion yesterday about our email list. You're like, well, people are coming in, and this is a part of the evaluation process and just like figuring it out, right? Like you're like, okay, people are coming in cold off Facebook who don't know me. They're going through the sales page. They're purchasing it, but I can send an email and I can get a handful of people to see my sales page, but no one's buying. Okay, let's think about that for a second. Maybe that's the wrong people on the email list. The quality of the list, the way we brought them into the email really isn't, the best way, or capturing the right person. I mean, it's still early to totally.
It's still early, and also
that,
it's numbers as well, like you said. I mean, it's people like to complicate this stuff, and they like to make it seem like it's more than just numbers, and it's not. Like, so when somebody says to me like, oh my God, like I got 1,000 people on my email list and 100 of them purchased, like, I know, like, no, they didn't. Like, you don't even have to tell me, like, I know that they didn't, because it's just numbers. And I've never seen, a 10% conversion rate on a sales page.
Yeah, and we've done it a lot.
And we've done it a lot at least in this day and age, right? Because the internet is what it is. People have short, attention spans. But that being what it may, the point is that, it's just numbers. It's really just numbers and percentages. And we know that like even at like if I have 1,000 people on my email list and 1% of those people buy, still not a gigantic number, right?
Because sometimes can't fight the numbers either. Like we were just talking about it this morning. He's like, okay, the Facebook ads, we've been running them for the way they are now for like a week or something, and they're converting at $40. Okay, so maybe that's the number right now. And that's what we have to work back from. Okay, so how can we take that $40 acquisition into a sale that could equal, $100 or $200 and make it worth it at that point? Not trying to fight it and like figuring out how to get it down, just doing what you can. I need to get that cost of acquisition. Maybe you just need to get your order up.
Order value
Up.
Yeah.
Ever wonder how those e-commerce brands you admire do it? How they know just the right message to send to the right people at the right time? Guess what? It's not experience. They have the right data and the right tools. They have Klaviyo. Klaviyo's data-driven marketing automation platform is sophisticated enough to power those legendary campaigns from the brands you admire, but they made it simple, easy, and fast enough for anyone to use. Klaviyo helps brands easily create personalized multi-channel marketing campaigns using your most powerful asset, your customers' data. Klaviyo integrates with all leading e-commerce platforms, helping you use your customer data in real time to send more relevant emails and SMS automations. Plus, building a marketing campaign is drag and drop easy. You can get started with your first campaign in under an hour and easily build from there with Klaviyo's best performing templates. Klaviyo gives you all the power of an enterprise marketing automation platform and none of the complexity, so you can compete with the big guys. No wonder more than 65,000 brands can't get enough. To get started with a free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored. The subscription market is predicted to grow to nearly $500 billion by 2025. As a fast-growing area in commerce, subscriptions hold tremendous opportunity to build a community of customers who share your values. Recharge is the leading subscription management solution helping e-commerce merchants of all sizes launch and scale subscription offerings. Recharge powers the growth for over 15,000 subscription merchants and their communities, turning one-time transactions into long-term customer relationships. Whether you're a direct-to-consumer business or an omni-channel brand, subscriptions strengthen your brand's relationship with your customers and makes it easy for consumers to make repeat purchases. With subscriptions, merchants are able to experience predictable revenue, increased customer loyalty, and higher average order values. Turn transactions into relationships and experience seamless subscription commerce with Recharge. Get started today with the subscriptions payment solution trusted by over 50 million subscribers worldwide by heading over to rechargepayments.com/uncensored.
And that's something that like I'm testing right now. So I had the Facebook product at $47, and last night I changed it to $97. So I'm going to let that run for a few days. I'm going to see if it affects anything. If I don't get any sales for 3 days, I know like, okay, $97 is not the right price point for people that don't know me. Let's bring it back down to 47. And now let's try to sell them something else to bring up that cart value. So if I sell a $47 product and someone converts at $40, that's a $7, margin. You're not going to make enough money with that for it to matter. But if I can add like an order bump, or I was actually, Kevin, I'm going to tell you this and I forgot what I was going to tell you before, but I remember now. Also, I want to do an upsell on the thank you page. So you can, even though the product is $47 and it's converting at $40. Sorry, my wife just texted me. My son was at the doctor. She just texted me, so I lost my train of thought for a second. But even though that the acquisition is $40 and the product is only $47, if I can get that cart value to $100, like now we're going to make money, right? And you can do that several ways. You could do like an order bump where as they're checking out, you can offer them another product on the thank you page. You can do an upsell. There's a lot of ways, but the most important part of this process is A, getting the first sale, but B, then reading the data and making adjustments according to what you're seeing, right? Like a lot of people, and our clients included, a lot of people will say, well, my product is $47. I got to get that acquisition cost down to $10. Like, no, you don't. You don't have to get it to $10. Let it sell at $47. Just make $7 a sale. And then from there, when you see some consistency, you can start doing an order bump. You can do an upsell. You can try to sell them other things in email. You can do all these other things. But the point is that when you're first starting or when you have a new product, the first thing your job is to do is to get someone who doesn't know you to take out their wallet and pay you for the product. Because from there, you can now start tweaking and trying things. And, I think this is probably where most people miss the boat, Kev, is they just give up, right? They don't just keep trying and they don't put the work in. And I could say that, like, I'm constantly thinking about this. I'm trying to figure out ways. I'm recording videos and they don't work. I stop using them. I try to record another video. I do another landing page. Like, so you have to have that tenacity, so to speak.
Yeah, focus on the successes that you have. One sale is a success. Okay, what happened to make that success come true? Was it an email? Was it a Facebook ad? Was the way you said this or that? Look at all those things and optimize those successes, and take a look at your failures as well. Don't look at them as just like, oh shit, like that didn't work, I'm just going to move on and do something else. See what you did wrong. Also ask your email list what's going on, why aren't they buying, and things like that. We just talked about putting Hotjar on our website, watching people consuming our content, seeing where they're getting hung up in the process so that you can kind of adjust it. And that's kind of always how we've done it. Hotjar is really cool. I mean, the fact that you can just watch people, on your website and see where they fall off, see how far down the page they get, how much they're consuming along the way, and then kind of adjusting to make them stick around longer.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing is, like, that's another good point, because, like, I sit here and I watch all, like, in Google Analytics, the real time visitors.
I love that you just sit in front of analytics. I'm not saying anything negative because I do the same thing, but I remember when we used to be in the office together and we were first starting at the Journal, and I would turn around and you just had all your screens, and one screen always had the live analytics up on it, and you were watching people come on, and every time we'd be like, someone's checking out, someone's checking.
Well,
and then we curse at it when they left.
Yeah. And it sounds a little obsessive, but the point is like, you can learn a lot, right? Like if you have 100 people going to checkout and nobody buys, that's a clue that there's something wrong with your checkout. Maybe the page is a 401. It's giving you a 401 error, and you don't even know that, right? So now you go through the process. This ad that we're running, Kev, I mean, we're getting a ton of clicks. There's not as many people adding the product to the cart, which tells me that either they're not getting to the bottom of the page and reading enough of the sales letter. And that's when I read the sales letter over to myself again this morning and said, you know what, maybe this is kind of where I'm losing them. That's why I wanted to put Hotjar on. So you can learn a lot from watching what your traffic is doing. You can learn how many times, Kevin, have we worked with a client where analytics has told us that there's a problem with the website?
Oh, absolutely. Real-time analytics is a huge place to start when you're first sending traffic to it, especially right away. You start an ad, you see it get approved, you go over to Google real-time analytics and you just watch. I mean, you can get so much information from how long they're there. Like, okay, I mean, you can't see because it's kind of laggy a little bit. It's delayed, so you don't really know, but you can get a sense, be like, okay, that person just came in and left right away. So there's something that's diverting them off the page that I might need to adjust.
Yeah, and a lot of people are reading the sales page and our golf sales page, but there's not a lot of people adding the product to the cart. In fact, most people who add it to the cart end up buying. Mm-hmm. So I have like a different problem that I'm going to try to work on. But we've gotten enough sales at this point where we're like, shit, this is going to be a real business. I mean, I feel like I'm just like a couple tweaks away from this being $1 million business within a short. I don't know if we're going to do it again in a year, but I do feel like I'm probably like a few tweaks away from this being a serious business pretty quickly. But you have to do the work. You have to put the time in. You have to look at the numbers. You have to test things and change things and try things. I mean, I don't want to say I got lucky with the golf business, because I think that like my experience, our experience, played a big part in how quickly we started getting sales.
No, the
Right?
timing was right for us, right? I mean, if we started this business 5 years ago, it would be a totally different story.
Exactly. It'd be a completely different story. Like the amount of knowledge that we have at this point is just different than 5 years ago, right? The point is that as a business, our job is to, or at least a new business, is to try to get that first sale and then build on it from there. In the beginning, I think what a lot of people do is they put something out, it doesn't work, they give up, and they're like, you know what, maybe people don't want this. When really, maybe just needed a little tweak or a little change or a little try or a little whatever. But the point is like, it's, you have to do this step by step. You can't go from step 1 to step 10 overnight. You have to go through the process. You have to learn from what you're doing. And then, hopefully, you'll get to a point where you're doing, if you're not already doing multi-million-dollar businesses or launching products that actually just work the first time, which we've been pretty lucky and blessed that that's happened. And I can't be more excited about this golf business personally. I mean, this has been like a passion thing of mine for a really long time. I love the fact that, having control over a business is like a double-edged sword, right? Like you can be lazy and do nothing, or you can go at it like a bull in a china shop and make it work. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the control we have over this business, where we don't need anybody to create the content. You and I can get on a call like this and say, Kev, man, this shit ain't working. What are we going to do? Oh, why don't you go outside and record a video? Okay.
Yeah.
And I just go do it.
Yeah, exactly. And understanding how actually hard it is to get someone to buy your stuff. Like, it's not an easy thing to do. So when you see people not buying, most people are having the same issue as you. And when you do get that sale, understanding how big of an accomplishment that was for you to get someone to buy your stuff.
Yeah, I always say the first sale is the hardest, but I think the second sale is really the hardest. The first one, you may get somebody who's like, oh shit, I'm going to buy it. Like, just because they don't care. Why are you laughing?
No, it's funny. It's just the second one's the hardest. I agree with you.
Yeah. So like the first one, you may get somebody who's like, let me just do it.
And then you're like, oh shit, now I'm going to get a bunch of other people to buy it. And then you're like, you have crickets for another week or so. And you're like, okay, when's that second one going to come in?
Yeah. So we've been lucky that we've gotten several orders for this. So it's really exciting for me. It's really exciting. I'm so like pumped about this business. I get up in the morning excited about doing it. I'm doing what I love to do. And although, hasn't replaced our incomes just yet, I feel like it's getting, we're like and by the way, we're not even golf season yet. That's like the whole other thing. Like golf season hasn't even started yet.
But keeping that, like you've always said that, that's got to be part of your mindset too. Like, what's the time of year look like? Maybe it's just not the right time for that person to buy. All these
what's
things
in the
have
news
factors too. Right. Exactly.
What's going on? This is the biggest week in golf, which is the Masters week. Right. And golf in most of the country hasn't even started.
Right.
Like,
never mind. So I gotta get a TV in here or something so I can watch that shit.
Oh yeah. I got the Masters on right now. They're live on the range. So look, I think the moral of this podcast, because we really just talked generally about our experience, is like, go through each step and don't try to rush. Don't say like, okay, I got 10 sales and now all of a sudden like things slow down a little bit. I'm doing something wrong. Like, no, like, okay, how do you then appeal to more people? How do you what do you have to do? Like, I'm going to be changing our sales page today because a story on that sales page is actually kind of redundant and I may be losing people. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to remove that story. I'm going to try to create another story to put in its place so that it's not redundant. And I'm going to see what happens. I'm also going to start adding a little bit more to what they get when they buy. I'm going to do an order bump or a upsell. You got to go in stages and you can't jump from one to the other. You have to do it slowly. You have to move. And one other thing I want to say, because, for those of you who already have a following, don't get fooled by sales from people who already know you. I think this is something that a lot of people, and us too, like I was in Ray Edwards, who's a copywriter, and I said to him, like, how do you know when your sales page is working and it's not just people buying because they know you? And it was interesting, his answer, and he basically said, that's a really good question. He said, but the truth is that it will convert better when they know you. He's like, it's just a fact. He said, but if you can get people who don't know you to buy, now that's where you can strike gold.
That's when it gets exciting.
That's when it gets exciting. And I think this golf business, we're just like on the precipice of that. And I think that I'm just really excited about it. I think that we're getting there, and I'm excited.
Cool, man. Before we go, text the word email to 844-643-0745. And eventually I'll not have to look at the paper to remember that number. But for right now, I have to look at the paper to remember that number. And we'll send you a little link to fill out a little survey form where we can learn more about you, and we'll see how we can fit into your business, and we'll go from there. So as always, you can check us out at ecommerceuncensored.com, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Later.
Attention e-commerce founders, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, marketers, and growth hackers. If you're working around the clock to build your dream e-commerce business, you need an e-commerce marketing platform that works just as hard as you do. That means you need Klaviyo. With Klaviyo, you'll delight customers and drive revenue at the same time. With personalized email and SMS marketing campaigns, you can design and send in minutes. For more, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored. The subscription market is predicted to grow to nearly $500 billion in 2025. Recharge is the leading subscription management solution helping e-commerce merchants of all sizes launch and scale their subscription offerings. Over 15,000 merchants use subscriptions powered by Recharge to grow their businesses and their communities by increasing average order value, reducing churn, and providing predictable, recurring revenue. Turn transactions into long-term customer relationships and experience seamless subscription commerce with Recharge. Check them out at rechargepayments.com/uncensored.